Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Jimkata on the Jamband label.
Have you ever thought about adding another person for your live shows? Because some of what you do seems like you could have another person there. I know that, the keyboards and, are, and the guitar, I guess, are played, at the same time, the bass. Which is it, the keyboards and
Yeah.
bass, or is it keyboards and guitar?
Yeah, I know sometimes like Aaron will play bass and guitar or bass and
Right.
synth at the same time. And like, we sample some things. We kind of like make it like more like a lot of it's like a feel like a electronic show a lot of times. And we kind of consider ourselves like electro rock or whatever and have sort of developed that sound. But like, absolutely. I mean, we're always thinking we had a bass player for a while. We've cycled through a couple different bass players. Ideally, I mean, we've said like from the get-go, I would love to have like two other players on stage and uh yeah, at least and they cover a lot of different layers and all that. But it's like, a lot of it right now is just the decision on like this is working and it's sort of like a financial thing too. Like you start bringing other players on the road, it costs a little more,
Also a
And
personality
your cut
thing.
goes down.
Well, I mean, yeah, if there is
If
one, I
there
mean,
is
it's just
one,
like it's tricky,
Gotta
Yeah.
clarify,
Yeah. It's not like we're not fat cats over here. But yeah, no, it's just it's a whole other thing being on the road and making that work. So ideally, we would do that. And we did actually shoot something recently that is not out yet, but we involved some extra players, and that was a blast. So
6-piece band for that.
Oh, cool. I mean,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
one of the, I think, benefits to keeping it a little bit tighter on the kind of the full-time member thing is that you probably have even more flexibility to do things like that, right? Because there's just a lot of different places you could go with kind of meshing other sounds in.
Definitely. It's also the
Yeah.
three of us have known each other and played with each other for so long that at a certain point too, like your longevity on tour has a lot to do with just the personalities that you keep around you. And like the three of us get along so well and we just have such a good rapport. So it's almost like before we bring a track to stage every time we do, it's always a conversation of like, all right, who's doing what? And like how do we utilize it? And then from there we can experiment and workshop with it.
Yeah. And then like even with as we started to play this record out on the road in the last like year or so, there were moments where we noticed that something live, like, oh, maybe this could go a little longer here, or this part feels a little stiff. What if we would even like re-edit things and bring it back to the table differently for the live setting because of we've been on stage so much now, we know what the feel is like when something's hitting, you know it from the crowd and all that. So we do still, we're not just like cut and paste, like here's the record and we play it. We really like adjust based on the crowd and then kind of like repurpose things for
We're
the
very
live
careful
setting.
about the set list too. As
So
Evan said, like it's
yeah.
tempo is very paramount to like how the whole show should run. So it's a matter of how long is the set? What kind of arc do we want to have? Do we want to come out swinging? Do we want to come out a little softer and then get into it, or like how do we want this to roll? So every single show, like that's what we focus on is like what kind of crowd can we expect? How much time do we have? How much of a seamless kind of just ramp up do we want to produce here?
Oh yeah, not to mention we have been bringing other people on because we've been bringing a bass player up for a few songs and stuff. We're kind of able to stretch out our catalog a little bit. Like New Year's, we played 2 nights. Played all of our album Die Digital since it was like 10-year anniversary of that. The first night,
Horn section. Yeah.
I mean, we did two. Yeah, we had a horn section the second night. We did like 2 nights with no repeating anything, and it was kind of fun for us. I mean, that's when you start to look at, you're like, oh damn, I guess we got a lot of songs. How does that one go again? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it was
I
fun.
was curious. This does come up occasionally, just, with this show being more or less focused on the jam band scene, and that itself is so broad. So I was just at a show this weekend, and their reggae-infused Jamtronica is kind of their thing, and it's awesome. The running tagline for them is like BYOS, bring your own synth, because everyone's got at least one or two, and
Yeah.
that's what it's awesome.
What band?
Giant Walking Robots, they're local Denver-based. They just put out a single
okay.
with Color Red.
Isn't Dave in that band?
Dave Halchuk?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my best buddies.
We work with him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's on our management team.
Wait, at Mammoth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Actually, I was just texting him because I was helping out with merch this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, we've known each other since college.
Oh, awesome.
Like for a long time now. I can't wait
cool.
to tell him that. So basically, in my mind, and we've talked to a bunch of people about this, like the jam band scene, like, do you consider yourselves like part of that? Is that cool with you? Like, because everybody kind of has a different opinion on whether they chose that or it chose them to some degree. And like, I'm always I don't know, I'm always super curious about that.
Man, I don't know. This is a hotly debated subject within this band for years. And I think now we're at the point of like, I don't give a fuck. I think we're all just like, excuse my language. I just like, no, we're just like, whatever. Like, if people like us, they like us. We did spend a lot of time like thinking about that. And I think because one of the frustration of any scene is maybe it is such a wide, the jam scene is such a wide array of sounds. So if you get, called a jam band, we sound a lot different than, kind of like what some other friends of ours might be doing. And
or what Billy Strings is doing.
And so, yeah, right. He's a jam band versus what like Dopapod's doing versus what Fish is doing versus what, there's it's such a, Krang is kind of considered in that. Yeah, it varies widely. So, I think at first there was a period of time where we were like, dang, it felt like almost a hindrance or something to be thrown in that. But then over time, as it just seems to not matter, like less and less, because what really matters is, are there people that are your fans and they're at your shows, and
can I get to the next town?
Yeah. And like, and we do jam, and we are influenced by jam bands, and we also like to write songs and our love production, and is that a crime? Like that's kind of we always have had this debate amongst ourselves, and I think we're getting to a point where you care less and less.
It's less a debate amongst ourselves, and more it was always a debate of like whoever we were working with agent wise would be like, well, how do I pitch you? Like, are you guys a jam band? Are you an indie band? Are you an electronica thing? And we'd always kind of be like, well, we kind of straddle the line of all three of those. And so like, depending on what you want to classify yourself as, I remember like we had an agent say, just like, if you are a jam band, just rub it all over your face, like really own it, make that your entire identity, because then like people will have a little easier time, classifying you. But I think over the years, we've kind of just become comfortable being like, whatever you think, whatever kind of fan you are, like, that's fine. Like, we don't care how people identify. We don't, just because we don't exactly identify with any like specific genre, like solely. So I think for a while we didn't give people enough of a benefit to like have a range of tastes. Whereas now I think it's easier to have a little more of a range of tastes as far as the way you're pitched and like the kind of crowds that are showing up from city to city.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing that we've taken from being influenced by the jam scene over the years is just the importance of having a really good live show and having it be different every night too. And I think that's something that, differentiates us from like, let's say like maybe just a straight sort of indie, pop act or something. Yeah. And so that's something we just continue to do because that's what we would like to see as if we were going to a show. So it's kind of, that's just where we are.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.